cousin Ferguson. This is my 6th year as a first year teacher at Claxton. I'm also the Lighthouse coordinator, which basically means I'm one of the chairs of the Leader in Me committee, and I've been doing it for like, I don't know, 3-4 years, a while. So before I jump into information about the Leader in Me, I just want to kind of take a poll of your understanding. Like 1 finger being, I don't even know what this is, and I just heard the name of it today, right now. 5 being, I could be up here and be giving this presentation. So, where do you stand? Awesome, I'm seeing a lot of 2s and 3s, so that's like kind of some middle ground. That's awesome. Okay. All right, here's our agenda for tonight. So what is the Leader in Me? Why we choose to do it at Claxton? I think that's like a really important part of it. How we use it every day in our classrooms and as a school, and then where you can implement it at home if you're interested in starting to do that. So what is this program anyway? It started with Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which you'll hear and we'll kind of talk about throughout the evening. But this was just kind of like a self-help. I think we used it a lot for like businesses and things like that to kind of get people motivated, create real change, take care of themselves, and it even like trickled down to teens. But what's really awesome about it is that there was this principal in Raleigh who went to one of his conferences just for herself and her staff. And as the story goes, she walked up to Stephen Covey at the end and was like, so how do I apply this to children? And he was like, good luck with that. Let me know how it goes. And she did. I mean, she just started talking about these 7 habits with her students at her school. And through that, this program was formed, which I think is so powerful that it's principal from like 4 hours away that he started this. I think that's just awesome. And that was it. So here are the 7 habits, and they have these little posters and characters that kind of go along with it for kids. That's where the book came from, 7 Habits of Happy Kids, written by Stephen Covey's son, Sean Covey. And it's really grown from there. So I was fortunate enough this summer to attend a global conference on the Leader in Me, and it's literally full of people from all over the world. There were people from India, Australia, China, all these countries in Europe, and of course the United States. So it's like, it's really amazing that it's grown this much and it's impacting students all over the world. So I could stand up here and go through the 7 habits, but there's this fun little video from the Leader in Me. I wish it was Claxton kids, but I didn't have that much time. And they're just going to explain what these 7 habits mean and look like.
Be proactive, don't be reactive. Make choices and think through the consequences.
Being proactive means taking initiative, which means doing what you know is right.
It means that you're being caring and considering others and taking responsibility of yourself.
Be proactive every day. Be proactive, stop and think.
I know my favorite was before I learned the painting.
You don't yell and you don't get all mad.
It means to choose your own weather or carry your own weather, like how you're going to act that day. Oh, and I'm going to be moody all day, or I'm going to be happy.
I choose to be happy.
Begin with the end in mind. Know what you want and how you are going to achieve it.
Begin with the end in mind means that you should plan what you're going to do before you do it.
Like if you were to say something to someone, begin with the end in mind. Think how they would feel before you said it.
Begin with the end in mind means that you plan ahead. Setting targets, very soon. Setting targets, setting targets, setting targets, good for you.
It means to set goals and work towards them.
Put first things first. Prioritize what you need accomplished. Work before you play.
When I get home immediately, I do my homework, and then I can play all the fun things that I want. So if you had a big project due, you need to get it done, and you don't need to dilly-dally.
If I want to play video games, but I have 2 pages of math homework, well then putting first things first, if I was using that, I would do my math homework first.
Do the big important things first and the small or a little important things after.
Saying you put your sock on before your shoe, that would be okay. But if you put your shoe on first and then your sock on, your shoe would have and sock over it.
We can both do what we want. You don't have to lose.
It means that you're thinking of others too instead of just this person wins or just this person wins. It's like everybody can win. Everybody has a part.
To share things and let other people play.
You and y'all kind of try to make both sides win.
How can we both be happy?
I see kids all the time having arguments at school, and they usually solve it by the think win-win habit.
People don't think, oh, I'm such a loser, I'm not good at this, and people don't say, oh, I'm going to beat them. People say, oh, we're all great, we're all in this together, we're going to do fine.
Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Listen with your head and heart before you speak.
If the other person is like talking, first you listen, then after he finishes talking, then you can share your ideas.
Sometimes you want to say something to somebody else, like really making it seem like theirs is wrong, or that your opinion is better, or that you don't think that what they're saying is right or something. It's just really hard sometimes, but you have to be a leader and really hold that back and listen to them and understand them, and then you can tell them.
I use it listening to my mom whenever she tells me to do things, and I always have to listen so I know what to do.
We were at a soccer game, me and my mom, and there's a mosquito on her back. And I slapped her back. And she's like, what'd you do that for? I'm like, there's a mosquito on your back. She's like, I won't fall for that trick. And then I pulled the mosquito out, and I'm like, mosquito? She's like, okay. And then I thought to myself, she needed to understand why I slapped her on the back before she made her assumption.
Together we can always accomplish more.
It means that everyone works together and they get great ideas to help get things finished, like your work, and you have better ideas and you'll get it done a lot faster. Work together for best results. The reason I like Synergize is because it's all working together and you can make so many new friends by doing it, and you can just work so hard together. I like to work in groups, and if there's a problem, I can help my friends.
When you're playing tag, it's no fun just playing tag with one person by yourself. Because tag, you're it.
Doesn't stop. Live a balanced life.
Habit 7 is all about keeping your personal skills sharp so that you can better deal with life.
It means after you've done all the habits, you take time to do something that you really like to do.
Chopping the salt is my favorite habit because you get to give your brain a rest.
It means like when you're tired, you just came back from a hard work a day, then you can just have fun, relax.
My favorite way to sharpen the saw is reading. My favorite thing to do is cheer.
Running and exercising. My favorite way to sharpen the saw is to play games with my family.
My favorite thing to do is eat birthday cake.
7 habits.
That was even better than I planned. That was great. Yeah, so you'll see this little tree at your tables, but it kind of just shows like the first 3 habits being the roots, the independent habits where you need to focus on yourself and better yourself. And then the next 3 are the interdependent habits where you're working with others, collaborating, learning how to work with others. And then habit 7 is kind of like the over-encompassing habit. You can't really have the other ones without that one. You really need to remember to have balance, take care of yourself. You can't just be doing, a lot of work or a lot of one thing. You've got to make sure you have that balance. All right, so why is Claxton so passionate about the leader in me? So it began because with teachers. Like teachers are impacted by it first, and then it kind of trickles down to students. So just like how it was kind of a business model and self-help model, teachers have to take care of themselves first and set goals and mission statements and all these things and model these for students. Even when it comes to social emotional skills and conflict resolution, we have to figure out how to do that first, and then it trickles down to students. So we're doing all of these things in our PLCs, working with each other. We're doing this, modeling it for students all the time with our goals, and I'll give you some examples in a minute. But yeah, like I said, setting and tracking both personal and professional goals, recognizing strengths and areas of growth in ourselves, and then being able to show that to students, and modeling and teaching social and emotional skills. So here are some examples of teacher mission statements and WIGs. And everybody's mission statement is so different. It can be one word, it can be a quote, but it's something that just embodies them and what they're about, their mission. And then these are some examples of teacher WIGs. And if you walk around the school right now, you would see mission statements outside the classroom and then WIGs outside or in the classroom. And WIG, just so everybody knows, I know I'm using a term that I probably didn't explain, stands for wildly important goals. So this is one of our fourth grade teachers' WIGs, Ms. Fagerly. Get moving at least 3 times per week, and she has examples of how she's doing that. And then this is Ms. Sparta's goal right now, packing my lunch 4 times a week. And we're modeling how to do this for students so that this month they can start doing this themselves. And I think some teachers are already even doing this. So they pick a goal. They'll either start with a personal or academic goal. Teacher will help them with that, and then they'll track it so that they can reach it. And then we even model how to change goals if we've met something, if we're already doing a really great job at that, or if the goal was too hard, to change it and take smaller steps. If we can show that to students, how we're doing it, it makes it a lot easier for them to understand and them wanting to do it. Great little quote: weak leaders measure success by money, position, and power. Strong leaders measure success by the difference they make in other people's lives. I think we can all agree that that's what teachers are all about. So if we're doing that first and then showing what we believe in to our students, we are making that difference. Okay, so it's so easy to hear that word leader and have a certain idea of what that means. Like, is it someone standing in front of a bunch of people and presenting, or can it mean many different things? And this has been a huge shift for us as a staff in understanding what leadership is. So I have another quick video. I think this one's only like 3 minutes to kind of talk about that. that quote right there is my personal mission statement because I think that's so beautiful. Like if you can help other people see their strengths and their abilities and what they bring to this world, like it doesn't have to be something as big as, seeing a need in the community. It can be like small acts of kindness. I think that's like the best thing you can do in life. So I think that's just awesome. And I think I have that same quote somewhere on here because I love it so much. Okay, so what does it mean to be a leader as a kid? I mean, you saw examples of small and large leadership, but I mean, it's finding your talents, setting goals, taking charge of your learning, and you'll see that a lot in conferences coming up soon. And learning 21st century skills. There was that article that came out a while back that said what big companies want, like Google, and it wasn't like, high test scores. It was things like collaboration and problem solving and goal setting, organization, creativity, conflict and resolution, things like that, and those align exactly with what we're doing here in Leader in Me. All right, so I don't know how I am on time. Is anyone telling me fine? Okay, good. So what does this look like at school? So Claxton has really been embedding this in everything we do, and you can see that in so many different ways. And I feel like in this school year, it's really across the whole school. It's not just pockets, but I feel like we're making real strides to make it in everything we do. That's the quote that was on there a second ago. Love that one. But it's true. I mean, we want students to be able to take charge of their learning and make real change in their lives. So one huge thing we started doing a couple years ago is PBIS assemblies, to be able to recognize all the great work that's happening all the time. We do these once a month. We have, students getting awards for riding the bus. We have students getting awards that their peers nominate them for and then vote for them by following the arts and being a great example at school. We have a lunch tray for classes that are doing especially great in the cafeteria and a specialist one. So it's just great opportunities to just show leadership in many different ways all the time. We have classroom lessons, so all students have one of these workbooks. This is the first grade one that I use. And it's just great to be able to take these 7 habits and kind of break them down into kid-friendly language. This is one I did the other day about the emotional environment, just talking about like what kind of classroom environment we want, how do we want to feel when we're at school. And we kind of showed different examples, like do we want to be in a classroom that's like all cluttered and messy, or do we want one that's tidy and clean? Do we want one where people are working together and smiling, or one where people are arguing? And like just seeing those pictures helps kids realize, oh, well, obviously I want to be able to work with my friends and have fun. And just like seeing that, I think has a huge impact. And then we do things like help them create personal mission statements, just like we do as teachers, by breaking it down and giving them different words that speak to them. So lots of great resources there for teachers. You'll again see this in conferences, but WIGs, the wildly important goals. All students have one of these leadership notebooks. We have the same notebook across the school, but the cover and inside just might be a little bit different depending on teacher and grade. And then we have these 5 tabs. Myself, so basically an about me section, what I love, what I like to do. My WIGs, my goals. My learning, how I'm reaching those goals through my learning. My leadership, what kind of class jobs I've taken on or other ways I'm being a leader in the classroom. And then my celebrations, things that I'm proud of that I'm doing at school every day. And then this is an example WIG, but again, I'm sure you guys will see these in conferences. We're kind of starting these right now in classrooms, so they might not be in full swing, but we're hoping by the end of the year, kids will be tracking their goals and making new goals and seeing their progress, and it's just really empowering when kids can do that. All right, student lighthouse team and other leadership roles. I'll give more examples in a minute, but this is a huge thing. We kind of moved from student government to student lighthouse team or student leader in me team, where students are making their own action teams based on needs that they see at school. So that's very exciting. And our team was a little too big last year, so we're kind of condensing it and then having students join in with the main members of the lighthouse team. So that's been a huge shift. And then like our whole school culture over these past few years has just changed. It's so cool. I mean, if you just think about the school play last year, all that Ms. Rigsby and Mr. Butler did with having students be in charge of so many different roles and all that they did for that. And then, like, we're doing the same things, but it's just how we're doing them is so different and giving them more responsibility. And then all the golden tickets and the leadership stickers. I mean, we just weren't, giving shout-outs enough for all the awesome work we were doing every single day. And this is just a great way to give those shout-outs all the time. And our variety show last year, I just loved what Mr. Godleski and all the teachers involved with that, how they had like, a little person like speaking in between acts, and the one calling on all the kids and everything, and just how we're doing it is just different, and letting them take charge of all the things we're doing at Claxton. All right, so that was a lot of information. I don't expect you to like know all this, but I just wanted to explain a little bit more like why we do this program, what it's all about, and why it's so important to us. So these are some ideas of what you can do at home. And I have a bunch of papers where you guys signed in if you're more interested in some of these things. But we'll kind of be sending things home throughout the year. So like this month's habit is be proactive, so we'll be sending some things home about that. And we're still learning about this too. Every school looks so different. So we're just kind of figuring out ourselves how to do this process. But one thing we noticed is that we want to get families involved more. So ask your kids about their goals, talk to them about these habits, and just start those conversations. One thing that would be a great thing to try, since we're talking about mission statements so much, that's something that everybody's done at Claxton by this point. So you can always make a family mission statement. And if it sounds daunting, I have a worksheet that kind of has some questions to guide, and I think another sheet too, to kind of guide how to do that. But just talking to them, like, what are our family values? What makes us happy? What do we want to be known for as a family? And it can be, just like I said, a few words, one word that, centers around what you believe in, or you can create a few sentences, whatever fits for you. So I really encourage that. I think that would be a great way to bring that home. If you want to be, super awesome and extra, you can create wigs at home and track them. I mean, even if it's like making sure you're reading every night, that's something they already have to do for school. So why not like making that a goal, or whatever it is, and talking to kids about what they're interested in, what they want to do better in. Or if you want to do that yourself and model that for your child, that would be amazing. I also have something back there if you're interested in that. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sure so many of you are already doing this, but just thinking of as like things that they do as leadership roles. So like starting by finding interest. What kind of things get you excited to help out at home? Or like when you ask a kid what kind of after-school activities they want to do, really getting them to think like what brings you joy. And then why did you choose this role? Why are you good to help with this thing or do this thing, whatever it is? And what steps will you take to be in this role? A lot of times when kids take on responsibilities, like, yeah, I'll feed the cat every day and like clean the litter. Like actually writing down, I will do this every day so that I'm in this new leadership role is so important and powerful. And then, like I said, writing it down. So if you're talking about like, hey, how do you want to help out at home more, actually putting it on paper and even, having the kids sign it with you and talking about it, I think is really awesome. And again, you guys are, I'm sure, doing so many things at home that you could categorize as leadership, but just kind of using different language and making it a little more similar and under the umbrella of Leader in Me, I think is a great way to bring that stuff home. And another great quote, we can tell children they are leaders when we give them true, authentic opportunities to lead, we give them self-efficacy. So I think that's very true. That's what we're trying to do at Claxton, and I'm sure you guys want to do that at home too. So, thanks. Like I said, there will be a lot more sent home. If you have questions, you can ask now, afterwards, but thank you so much for being here and supporting your child. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions or anything that you want to say out loud, or are you just good?